us an articulated trout mouse. So I've got a concept in mind, the bomber. There's a steelhead fly called the bomber. This is going to be a lot of hair, and then I think the back end, we'll put the articulation on the back end. It's not going to be a huge pattern, and the articulation is just going to be the tail and some hackle, no hair on the articulation. So let's make our articulated connection. We need some wire. The 0.8 0.8 millimeter wire is the way to go here. I have the shank already pre-bent out, so maybe we'll start with that. Again, not a huge articulation. I'm gonna try to flatten this wire out and then give it a trim. And then we'll bend one side down, and then we'll bend the other side up. Then we'll squeeze both points down. Squeeze this one close. It's okay if it folds over itself like that, that's not a problem. Then we'll get the other side and we'll squeeze it down. We can sit this one flush because this will be the end of our little articulation. Get that close together. That's going to be the tie-in point. So it's just wire it's wire folded on itself. Very simple. We'll go ahead and get some thread going. So I'm thinking for the articulation, just a little bit of tail material and some hackle wrapped around that. Just a decorative little doodad. But we need to find the material for the tail, which is easier said than done. Easier said than, I didn't really even think about this. We could, oh, the synthetic, yeah. The old synthetic sparkle tail. So we have some synthetic hair, the pink. We'll take some of the pink out, trim it out. I'm not gonna make it, we'll skip the sparkles for this one. And then we will double it up. And then clean it up. This is a small pattern, so we don't need a huge tail. Putting my finger there, we're going to start wrapping. Nice and tight. You could use a tool if you didn't want to use your finger. You could hook it with some kind of tool, because that's the issue. It'll slip. Yeah, maybe we'll try to use a tool. Get our little hook. Slide the hair into the hook. All right, I'll try to do it this way. See if it spins up. But I can't wrap it, I have to spin it. Spinning is a little slow. Spinning. We want to get enough tension so that it starts to furl on itself. Like so. But we want the furl to be a little bit higher up, so I'm going to try to manipulate it. Then it kind of just spins up on itself. We could do tighter, but I think that's enough in terms of length. So I'm going to pinch it, I'm going to unhook it, unhook it. And then, the end got a little bit messy. That's okay. We'll transfer it, and then we will tie it in. Okay, trim it out. And then clean up the tail. You can see the end got a little bit frayed, but maybe that'll add to the mystique of the tail. Let's do a little bit of hackle around that tail section. We'll get just a generic webby hackle going. And this will allow a little bit of extension of the body. Maybe I tied this way, because we'll wrap backwards. And then we will start wrapping the tail. Wrapping the tail. I'm not worrying about the preen. I want the volume. I'll go ahead and tie that off. Trim it out. And do a finger whip after we fluff that out a bit. I want a fly that I can fish with a 4-weight. Because carrying 2 rods, I think, is real dumb. So I'm gonna be fishing dries 90% of the time. A little bit of nymphing, light nymphing, and then throw in a few streamers as well. But only situationally. So carrying another rod for that is real dumb. If that's your bag, by all means. I'm not trying to hate, but you won't see me carrying 2 rods on the river. I'm gonna preen it a little bit and then throw a drop of glue right at that thread, that tie down point. Hopefully it doesn't seep into the hackle. If it does, oh well. But that's our articulation. We'll get our hook going. big do we want the hook? I think that should be a good size. We're gonna throw, so I want to do the stealth bomber style with trimmed hair and a hackle running through it. This isn't a very practical way to tie a mouse, but it's just an idea that has been running through my mind. So we'll start with the articulation, tie-in point, tie-down point rather. I think I want it sitting, wanted it sitting vertical, so I shouldn't tie the mono up top. The mono needs to be sitting toward on the side. Mono on the side. And then we will scoot the tail on, do some loose wraps on the side, and then we will draw the tail in nice and tight, and then tighten it down, and that's all we need, because this isn't bearing any weight, so it doesn't need to be super secure. Should be secure, but not super secure. We'll go ahead, we'll hit that with a little bit of glue. Spread the glue around. Lock it in. And then we'll pick out some hairs. Some good hairs. I'm gonna do a bleached elk because the hackle I'm gonna run through is gonna be similar to this color hackle. So we'll go with bleached elk. I'll do a bunch of hair first, tying the hackle, and then finish with hair. Trimming is gonna be the hardest part. So we'll do a small bunch to begin with. Then we'll clean it up. The elk always has a lot of underfur. Pull it out. Not too worried about the tips. I don't even know if the tips will play. Meaning I might trim them out. Excuse me. We'll spin the hair in, give it nice tension. Then we will preen the hair back, and then we will tie in our hackle. So let's pick a hackle, something long but not too webby. This one looks good. So I'll trim out the butts, do a little tie-in point, and then we'll tie in our hackle. I'm thinking we'll get maybe 3 or 4 turns of hackle on the fly. Then we'll just finish it with fur, or hair rather. And go ahead, trim it out, clean it up. An old toothbrush is quite good for this too. Tie it in, 2 loose wraps, give it tension, spin it up. Nice and tight. Preen it back. Secure, and then pack. Pack it up. It doesn't have to be as tight as a bass bug, but definitely needs some packing. I think I'm gonna skip the ears as well. And then the face, I haven't decided if I want to try to get creative with the face of the fly. Give it a wrap, spin it up, good tension, advance the thread, give it a pack. I think we can get 2 more sections on there. The elk is not as buoyant as the deer belly. I think you should keep that in mind as well. But I'm not trying to make a super buoyant. If it sits a little bit low, it might even be better for me. Good tension. Advance and pack. Okay. Let's do, we could try to finish with another color. I don't know what would be good. Red. And because it's going to trim down, it'll have a little bit of red on the face. Let's give it a go. Too loose, spin it up. Advance. And little pack. And then we can whip it. Ooh, yeah, we whip it. We need to, I guess we trim out the, I didn't think about this. So I need a little bit of space actually, because we're gonna have to wrap that hackle. Maybe you trim the body, wrap the hackle, tie it off, add a little bit more hair, then finish up. You're gonna see the problem I'm gonna run into here. It will be evident very soon. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I suppose. Let's get a new new blade, fresh blade. And then we'll start with the belly and work it around, all the way back. That's good. Rounding out the sides. There's not a ton to work with, but ideally the midpoint of the belly is thicker than the head or the back, ideally. Start shaping the head. And then we'll come on the sides. Coming down on the sides. Down the back, rather. Holding that hackle, making sure we don't whack it off. Okay. Now let's get a little bit more aggressive with the head. And we'll blend it in with the body. We have to finish the back end with scissors. Let's go for our taper toward the tail. And then we'll clean it up. Softening out any edges. Okay, so that's the rough shape. That's the rough shape. Now we gotta try to get this hackle. Let's trim out the back side first. Trimming around that hackle. I could have gotten a little bit more aggressive with the taper toward the back. But it's just too small of a fly to really do much of anything. So I think we're gonna have to live with it. The only technical thing you would pay attention to is the hook gap. And there's plenty of hook gap. So before we wrap the hackle, I wanna fluff it up. Oh, you want to get the thread started again. Let's get our thread started again. Cleaning up that underside. If you take too much of the material off, you're going to kill your buoyancy. And get our thread started again. I think we're going to end up trimming the hackle off of this face. I want to make the wraps fairly tight, so I'm just working it slowly into the hair. Tight meaning close together. Just working it into the hair. It's wrapping. Working it into the hair. And then we just have enough, barely enough. We'll stop it there. Go ahead and secure. Trim out those tips. Give it a whip. That's definitely gonna need some super glue. Cinch down that whip. Let's do one more. All right, so the first thing I notice is I should have started the hackle way further back. And then I should have cleaned this up more before we wrap the hackle, because it's difficult to cut now. And then I should have selected a darker hackle. The hackle's it's too bright. So I think this is a failed concept on my end. Will it still fish? I'm pretty sure it will. Will I still fish it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And put a little drop of glue on the face. Yeah. I mean, on the swing, it might work. Definitely could work as a little bluegill bug. But I messed up on the hackle choice, and I messed up on the hackle placement. And maybe slimming down the body also would have been a good consideration. But I have a feeling this is a pattern that over time it'll fish better. The only thing that turned out well is that little wiggly tail. Damn shame. All right. Couple other things we want to do today. We're gonna do a streamer, I believe. Oh, I could have used this synthetic for the tail. This was the CDC I got a couple days ago. And then comparing it, this is the bag I've been working on. There's still plenty left. This one's a slightly darker, so I want to try to tie a few with this, the darker one. See how it turns out. So we'll do a little double wing with the dark. And then streamers will have to wait till tomorrow. Let's change that thread. Should have picked up more of this UTC 70 olive. What was I thinking? Okay. We'll go with a slightly lighter body, a little bit of synthetic, and then we'll blend that with some little bit of black hairs here, and then a touch of orange on there. This will be our body color. I'm ripping it. Ripping. Yeah, I like that color. Do a rope. Start getting our rope nice and tight. This will be the back section of our fly. We have too much dubbing, so I'm gonna take it out and tighten up what's left. Give it a wrap. Trim it out. Get our new CDC. You don't like there's some really nice big premium feathers. You don't want to use those. You want the short, fat ones that have the fibers are kind of similar, going all the way to the tip. So this would be a good one to use. And we'll get 2 of them. That one's a little short. Oh, this is another good one. Okay. So we'll do this one to start. There's some junk on there. We want it slightly longer than the bend. We want it sitting up top. But the base of these of the feathers as long as the tip, so you can bunch it all together and make a nice full wing, which is nice. Tie it right there on the top. Get our second, and then layer it on up top. You could tie over those butts, or you could trim them out. Your call. We need another dubbing rope. Where's the dubbing? Here's our blend. Measure out the rope. Loose. That's too heavy. Loose. 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 Tighten it up. That's going to be too long. Yeah, it's going to be too long. Get it nice and tight. Start wrapping right at the base of the tie-in point. You can go slightly over and it will draw everything together. You don't want to cover it too much, but just slightly, and it brings everything together. Actually, that was just enough. But check out that blend. Kind of olivey, browny, a little orangey. The body color turned out real nice. I feel confident with any color for the body, except like a Crayola brown color. Don't like that. Don't ask me why. That's a lot. Okay. Do these two. One same length as the tail section. Bunch it up, tie it down. You want it sitting on top. There's so much extra here. But that's slightly longer, so I'm gonna draw it back. That's a good length, and then we'll put one on top. Check our length. That's nice and full. This is a very heavily dressed fly because our CDC is so full. I'm tempted to use, I'm going to use this butt section as our hackle. And I don't know why I shouldn't have trimmed this off. I shouldn't have trimmed that out. That was not smart. But we will gather our tips here and clip them together, and we'll trim them out. Then we can split our thread. Ooh, that's not a great split, but I hope it works. Insert our material into our split. Remove the clip, and then we can spin it up. There we go. And we're gonna come back toward where we tied in the feathers. One, this wrap is just managing the wing. Bring it toward the head. 2, bring it toward the eye. 3, slowly wrap and preen, and then we'll let our thread unravel. But if you look at the profile, it's actually quite nice. Those butts can kind of stick out past the eye. Generally, that's how you would do it. Generally. After that thread is finished unraveling, you can whip it, and then you're done. That body color turned out so nice, I want to do another one. Exact same body color. That's a small stone or a big October caddis, even terrestrial. I would use this as a searching pattern in the summertime. So it's a nice one. Let's get the same size hook. Or slightly smaller. Yeah, we'll go slightly smaller on a 10. I think that was a 12 extended. This is a 10 standard. But it will also, because those feathers are so full, 2 wings I don't think it's necessary. So we'll just do the 1 wing. And then we can match the size and profile of the standard dry and the extended body one. I think we need to mix up another blend. A little bit of tan, a little bit of orange, and then a pinch of black rabbit. And we'll because the synthetic fibers are quite long. Rip, rippy, rippy. That's good. Take out a pinch. Start building our rope. You could wax it if you want, but the synthetic really tightens down well, so not super necessary. I think that'll be plenty. Tie it down. Tighten it down. And then we will wrap our body. Wrappy, too much. Let's remove the excess. Tighten it down. Wrappy. Got some odds and ends going here. Trim those out. We'll get our CDC. This is a good one. And that's not a good one. This is a real good one. Put him on. 1, 2. Our next is rather long. One, 2, 3. I'm not going to trim it. Check the length. Length is good. We still have our 2 butts we left over from our first fly. We'll use we'll use them again for the legs of this one. We'll clip them and trim them. Throw that away. Split and insert. That's quite heavy, but sometimes you need them well dressed. Spinny. I'm gonna preen a little. Wrap. One, that's 1, that's 2, advancing forward, going under, that's 3, and then finishing at the eye. We'll unravel the thread, we'll trim out the butt, and then the legs don't even need any trimming. Quite good. So that was on the 10 standard. This is the double wing on the extended, and you're getting about the same size. This has 4 feathers in. This only has 2, plus the legs. So I think it's more economical to tie on a size 10 standard hook rather than the longer extended body. Obviously we could have skipped the double wing, but just something to think about. That'll be a good pattern. That dog will hunt. Do 2, 3. Cinch down your whips. Trim your thread. And remove. I need another one, I'm sorry. But we need another one. And then the hook is lighter. The hopper hook or stimulator hook is thicker wire, heavier hook. So people tend to dress them more. But a standard dry fly hook, the wire's thinner, a little bit lighter. You can achieve, oh, there's a little gold flash in there, we don't want that. Get the same profile. And I think the standard, I don't know about the price actually. I didn't know about the price. Go ahead, we'll wrap the body nice and low. Coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up. Almost, no, still too much, but not enough to correct. Trim it out a bit. 2 wings. That's a good one. I'm gonna do this one just because it's ugly. This feather's ugly. Oh, not that bad actually, it just had some junk on it. I'm tied in flat. 1, 2. Tied in flat. 1, 2, 3. Gauge our length. We won't trim the butts. And get this. This one is not good for legs. Too long. This one's not good for legs either. So far, I'm pretty impressed with this Trout Hunter CDC. The selection, but obviously CDC is all the same. It's not like they're breeding different ducks, but they're purchasing, the grade is a pretty good grade. So, impressed. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna change the color to a little bit darker feather. This one I've been working on. I'll take that bit there, trim it out. And then we can split, insert, spin. Split, insert, spin, preen, and wrap slowly, 1, 2, 3, finish toward the eye, and let her unwind, trim out the butts. I'm not gonna do anything with the legs, keep them long. Whip it and finish. All right. One, two, three, and again. 1, 2, 3. Trim. Let us review the day's work. Where's our little ugly mouse we tied? There it is. There it is. Go on a field trip. The Ghost Fisherman, hello from Finland. War on a Capiana. Hello. All right, so we started with our mouse. This was a bit of an experimental pattern. We had an articulation, then we wrapped a hackle, and we furled some synthetic hair for the tail. There's a pattern called the Stealth Bomber. It's a steelhead pattern, and it has a hair body with a wrapped hackle. So I was going to try to turn that into a mouse. The problem was I picked the wrong hackle. It's like a dry fly hackle. I should have selected a webbier hackle. If I had selected a webbier hackle, it would have had more body, the buoyancy of the hair, the body of the hackle, and then our little tail, and that's, a decent little mouse. But we failed. So goes in the trash. The next fly we tied was a double wing caddis on a stimulator hook or hopper hook. We blended the dubbing black, tan, and orange, and I was quite satisfied with the turnout of the body color. There's 2 CDC wings tied in the back, followed by 2 more. That's 4 total, with a CDC hackle, and I think that's 1/2 inch, a pretty big dry fly. And then we did, these are on similar concept, but 1 wing on a size 10 standard dry fly hook. And they actually, so half the material, same profile, taking a look from the underside, about the same profile, half the material. So I think I learned something. Don't tie so much on these stimulator hooks for your caddis patterns. Obviously they're necessary for other things, but for this style of fly, maybe a standard dry fly hook is best. So that's it for today, and I'll see you next time.